but they'll be close.
Well, happy Valentine's Day to you and to you, Mike.
Thank you.
It is. I sure hope both of you did something special for your wife.
Oh, yeah.
Well, tell us, Mike. What did you do?
Bought her a car.
No,
Really?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, first time in 10 years.
Well, you absolutely waxed me. I just got some flowers
But you got a carriage ride in
and
the
a
cold.
carriage ride.
Yeah, there you go. She bought me a $250,000 life insurance policy and an airplane ticket to China.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
I've
That idea could catch on.
I have heard that one before. Only they told me that his wife bought him $1 million life insurance policy.
Yeah, I think you undershot that.
Well, we just bought a car. We can't afford that much insurance.
There you go. What can you share? What kind of car?
Ford Explorer.
Ford Explorer.
Explorer,
Yeah,
okay.
that's what I drive.
Big, comfortable one. Yeah.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Now, yesterday
Yeah.
at the flower shop, we got serenaded.
Did you?
Yeah, by the FCHS music department.
They were
You know,
out
they're
here,
doing
of course.
they're
yeah.
doing their valograms. Well, somebody sent us a valogram.
You remember what they sang?
Not really,
Yeah.
but it was really good.
Well, I probably should have gone that route too. But I'm feeling now. You're delivering what I bought out there to the college, right?
I am.
Okay.
And don't worry, I will walk
Parade around for a while.
Parade around
So that
at
people
least
go,
once.
whoa.
I might go through all the buildings.
There you go.
And do it.
That's what we need. Drop some
I'm
petals of flowers
looking-
behind you.
I'm looking for Carol Dreeth.
There you go.
Is Carol Dreeth around here?
For this.
Somebody bought this for her.
There you go. That's what you need.
Yeah.
You know what the problem is now? She's going to say, "Where's my car?"
Well,
Yeah.
sorry about that.
Potter
and
got
your
his
life
wife
insurance
one.
policy.
Yeah. And when you going to China, I've got in my hands the bucket o' bunk.
It's that one.
Yeah.
You want coffee? Let's kick it.
Oh, we're kicking it.
Bunk, baby. Bucket of bunk,
think I've already kicked
baby. All right, stop. Sit back and listen. Mike and Mark have a little invention, a bucket, and it's full of junk. It's even got a title, it's the bucket of bunk. Fill it to the top with facts you might know. Turn on the mics and let's go. It's full of more facts than one mind can handle. Celebrity birthdays, facts, history, and scandals. Bunk,
And he just flies through that. I didn't think he could talk that fast.
Bucket of bunk,
He's
baby.
one of the best white rappers I've ever heard.
Bunk, baby.
Vanilla Ice,
Bucket
Jeremy
of
Smith.
bunk, baby. It's a bucket of bunk.
It sure is. Jack Benny was born on this date. His real name, Benjamin Kobulski.
Rochester.
That's right. He died in 1974 at the age of 80. Benny made one of his final television appearances in 1973 on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. He was preparing to star in the film version of Neil Simon's The Sunshine Boys in 74, but he was getting sick, and he asked his friend to take over, George Burns. Mm-hmm. And George Burns took it and won an Academy Award in that movie. Those two had a really interesting relationship. They were friends, and here's what they would do. They would go to some place, and Burns would enter into his mind, when we go and see this singer, it would really be inappropriate if you'd start laughing during the performance. He'd drive Benny crazy. Benny'd start laughing during the... Benny's one of the longest stretches of laughter, besides yesterday's conversation about Leave It to Beaver, on radio, one of the longest stretches was Jack Benny on his show, and the premise was, and it was set up by the writers, he's walking through a park at night, and a guy jumps out with a gun and says, "Your money or your life." Okay? Now, they're all in the writer's room, and they're trying to figure out what would Benny, the persona of Benny, the guy who was always cheap, what would he say to somebody who stuck a gun in his gut and said, "Your money or your life"? And it went on for an hour or two, and finally one of the writers looked at Jack and said, "Jack, we need a line." And Benny said, "I'm thinking it over." Yeah. And that was the line.
Yeah.
And it was like 2 minutes of laughter. on the show when he delivered that line. Jack Benny, one of the greats of all time, as far as I'm
Absolutely.
concerned. Let's see here. Jimmy Hoffa was born on this date. We don't know when he died or where he died, but he was born on this date, and he disappeared in 1975 at the age of 62. Have you ever seen the movie with Jack Nicholson?
Yes, I
playing
have.
him?
Yeah.
That's a great movie. He became involved with organized crime. He was the main guy in the Teamsters Union back in the day. And on June 12, 2006, the Detroit Free Press published a 56-page report that had been done by the FBI about his disappearance. There is a belief, probably a pretty good belief, that Hoffa was murdered at the behest of organized crime figures. He also, that night that he died, took a carriage ride to Pond Creek. All right.
Long way to that one.
It took a while. It was slow to get there, Mike, but we got there. Florence Henderson died in 2016 at the age of 82. She was born on this date.
Oh, yeah?
You know, of course, who she was.
Carol Brady.
In the Brady Bunch from 1969 to 74. The youngest of 10. She was the youngest of 10 children.
Wow.
That's got to be difficult. Anyway, you remember the whole situation. Barry Williams, who played Greg, was reputed to have taken her on a date.
She's a cougar.
She's a cougar, if you believe the story that Barry Williams tells in his book.
And why wouldn't you believe Why wouldn't you believe Greg Brady? He's a wholesome young man.
He was 16 years old, and she was 36 and a cougar.
Yeah.
Anyway, Barry says he couldn't even drive. He had to have his brother drive him to take her out for dinner. And he said, really, it was just two friends out for dinner. She gave me a little peck on the cheek when she, when we dropped her off, my brother dropped her off in the car. He says it was flattering that she gave me any attention at all. So it wasn't that big of a deal. It really wasn't what it was made out to be. Let's put it that way. He didn't make out. Just a little peck on the cheek right there.
All right.
She was married, divorced. She married her hypnotherapist.
Really?
Isn't that inappropriate?
I would think so, yeah.
You like me, right? Let's repeat that. I'm going to bring you out of this, and you're going to like me. Anyway, she had 5 grandchildren. She died in 2002. On this date in 1912, Arizona became what state of the Union?
49th?
No.
48.
48. Because 49 and 50 were Hawaii and Alaska, right?
That's right.
Yeah. This was the day. Guess what this day was? This was the St. Valentine's Day Massacre.
Oh, they're in Chicago.
Right there. Took
What
place.
What a great movie. You've seen that movie, right?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
It is a great movie. 7 gangsters, rivals of Al Capone, lined them up on a wall.
Dressed as police officers.
Yes, they were. Remember this name?
Tried to kill, was it Bugs Moran?
Yes, Bugsy. All right. Are you much of a basketball guy, Mike? You're not? All right. Well, I'm looking at Turner because I know he is.
He's taller than I am.
He was. Do you know he played college basketball? This guy right over here.
Well,
It's hard to believe.
sort of.
Wait a minute. That's the story you told us one time before.
I was on the end of the bench.
Well, at least you were
I
dressed.
never actually got to play.
You didn't you were never on the court.
For like 2 seconds.
All right, well, good.
5 seconds.
So you were a
At the end of
college
the game
basketball
one time.
player.
Yeah.
Rick
Sort of.
Mount. 1966.
Purdue.
Before that, he was known for this. He became the first high school basketball player to be pictured on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Really?
Yes, 1966. But
Did not
went
know
on to a
that.
great
Yeah.
career at Purdue. The 4th Madison Square Garden was opened on this date in 1968. I didn't realize there were 3 other Madison Square Gardens ahead of that.
I didn't know that either.
Anyway, Walter Cronkite in 1980 announced his retirement from CBS Evening News. In music history, Aretha Franklin recorded her song Respect in New York on this date in 1967. Guess who was married on this date in 74? The Captain and Tennille.
They were actually married.
Oh, yes.
Okay, I didn't
Yeah,
know
well,
that.
yeah, and then they just